Hello, YouTube. This is Natanus Likens, and today we are going to go over some interesting topics, mainly about OBS. The reason for this is I recently came across a job posting that I feel like I have the best qualifications for, especially considering what I've been doing over the last 7 months. And I just kind of wanted to display that a little bit. So, with that in hand, we got a few things to talk about. First and foremost, as you can tell, there is no green screen back there. I just don't have one, so it's going to look kind of weird in places. There's not a whole lot I can do about that without a green screen. So, yeah, there's that. Lighting. Obviously, there's a giant glow on my head. I don't have any lighting equipment. I have no way of preventing that, so that is kind of a fail point, and is one of the points of requirements on their list. So let's go over some of that. Before we get there, though, big disclaimer here. So when I'm looking straight at the camera, it's fine. Everything's good. I'm looking there. However, the screen is up there. So if I'm looking away from the camera, not looking at it, you know why. That's because the screen's up there, camera's down there. Yeah, okay. So let's get into it a little bit. Let me pull this back up. Okay, so uh, some of the requirements they have is PTZ cameras and controllers. Now, I took a look at them, and these are very standard things in the industry. I don't see why I wouldn't be able to learn that fairly quickly. I already kind of know a little bit about the controllers and a little bit about the cameras. Obviously, I'm using a webcam right here. This is a cheap Logitech camera that I'm using. Uh, like, I don't remember, like 20 bucks, I think it was. It's nothing compared to the like $200, $300 cameras that have a lot of fancier abilities with them. Again, I don't see any reason why I couldn't learn that fairly quickly. The controls, I took a look at them. They're fairly simple looking. Uh, I don't see why I couldn't figure out how to use that in like an hour at most. Some of the other things, chroma key. Chroma key is a very unique setting within video production, and you probably can't tell it from the video right here, but I actually have the gamma turned down a little bit, and what that does is it helps prevent washing out of colors, and like in this instance, it's darkening them just a little bit, mostly because of the lighting. Otherwise, you just see a giant glow on my head over here. There's not a whole lot I can do about that again because I don't have lighting equipment. Um, Wireless microphones, transmitters, and receivers. Okay, so obviously you can see that I'm using a wired headset. Again, I don't really have the technology to do those kinds of things and work with them. Uh, those are fairly simple. It's pretty much just plug and play, and hopefully you're far enough, you're close enough to be able to receive signals and everything and make those work. Those are basic. Like you don't even need a class for those. You just got to know how to use a microphone and plug it in. But pretty much, live streaming platform. Okay, so I do stream. Uh, yeah, that's really all I really got to say about that. Is I do use a streaming service. And I don't mean like watching stuff. I mean like actually like streaming, doing live shows and everything. I actually do that stuff occasionally. I don't have a very big following, and for the purpose of this interview, I don't see that they're going to be interested in the gaming stuff. But that's what I do. I do live streaming. OBS. Well, take a wild guess what I'm recording this on. To be perfectly honest, Adobe Studios, Premiere, Media Encoder, and Photoshop. Um, yeah, I don't really have the technical training on any of those. Photoshop, like 20 years ago. Um, I don't see why I wouldn't be able to pick that back up and start learning it again. The main problem there is I just simply don't have the financial backing to buy those kinds of software in order to, use it here on my channel. I just don't have it. Uh, I do use what I call the poor man's version of Photoshop, known as Paint.net, and I have used that for several years. I can't even begin to tell you how many years I've used that. I want to say I found that first back in like 2010 or something. Maybe even further back than that. I'm not really sure. Uh, Operating systems, Windows, Mac, iOS, Android. Okay, so I do have a phone. I actually have an iPhone, so using that's fairly simple. Windows is the preferred thing that I use. When I took the Photoshop class, I did have to learn a little bit about Mac and Apple computers. Um, wasn't a big fan of that, mostly because of the right click. That was really annoying, and trying to make that work and everything was a pain in the butt. Uh, Again, that's not something I do not see myself being able to pick back up and relearn a little bit about. Maybe even one day picking up my own laptop just so I can play around with it and get to know it a little bit better. Again, that requires financial backing, but I don't see why I wouldn't be able to use it, especially considering that, for the most part, Macs are generally used for graphic design and everything. Um, that is something that I haven't done a whole lot of, uh, with the one exception of taking that Photoshop class so many years ago. But again, that's not something I don't think is beyond my ability to just pick back up and do. Uh, Google Docs, spreadsheets, Gmail, Calendar, and the Drive. I've actually used that fairly recently, actually. It's not that difficult. It's fairly straightforward and simple. Uh, Honestly, I don't even know why it's on the list of requirements because that's such a simple thing to even be able to do. But yeah, there's that. So let's go on and talk a little bit about some of the things that I have done. Saying that I've done them and showing is two different things. And I have set up a few images. So we are going to rearrange a few things. I'm going to turn off. No, let's not turn off that yet. Where is. Okay, here's this. So we're going to turn that on real quick. Turn that on and turn this guy. Yeah, there we are. So there I am down in the bottom left corner. As you can see, this is my logo for my channel. This was made on paint.net. Again, I did say that this is a poor man's Photoshop, and I did actually do that. And you can see maybe a little bit if you understand Photoshop and all that, you can see a little bit of what I did and figure out how I put it all together. But essentially, what we have here is about let's see, 9 different layers that I had to splice together and everything to create this image, and then a lot of other little detail things that we're not going to get into too much. Just know this was created in uh, Paint.net, which again, as I've been saying, is basically a poor man's Photoshop. I don't see it beyond a reasonable ability that I could pick up Photoshop again and start using it at least on a not really like an expert level, but probably like a novice level. So I can do things, I can mess around with it, and probably pick it up and like start to learn it again. And then from there, we go on to this image. So, like I said, what I'm recording on is OBS, and that's one of the requirements. So you can see here in a few of these spots here that I have scenes set up, I have sources set up, I have the audio there, and a few other things going on right there. And yeah, that's pretty much how OBS works. I don't really know how to say anything other than I use it like routinely, and pretty much has been the primary thing I've been doing for like the last 7 months. So, I mean, what do you want me to say on that? Like, I don't know the inner workings on it. I'm not going to claim to be an expert, but I can use it. It is fairly simple and straightforward, and being able to adjust things and alter things is just fine. I will say that these images that I am showing you now are probably going to look a little bit odd as far as the aspect ratio. That is because I cut off the toolbar of the image. Otherwise, the image would fit on there just fine. But because I cut off the toolbar and then stretched it to fit, they are going to look a little funky. So just be aware of that. And on to the next one. Okay, like I said, this is paint.net. Uh, again, poor man's Photoshop. And as you can see on the right-hand side in the bottom corner, we have two layers set up for this image. Essentially what I did is I just put this on the screen, took a screenshot, and then cut it out. And I realized that the background cutter is doing some weird things right there in the bottom left. Don't worry about it. Uh, it's something that I just got to deal with because I don't have a green screen. If I had a green screen, it probably wouldn't be an issue. Anyway, so yeah, I ended up cutting out the image there in the middle so that we could have a little bit of fun for this video. I have something set up we'll show in a minute, but yeah, basically it's poor man's Photoshop and navigating that and being able to do certain things I'm fairly familiar with. I've done a lot of things with that. In fact, again, that image is something that I created using that software. I do have more images. It's just this one's so iconic to my channel and the things that I've been doing that I decided to go with it. If I use some of the other things, like maybe some of the memes that I've created, it probably wouldn't mean as much. You get the point. Now we go on to this one. And yeah, here we are. We're at this one. You can see the whole screen, and this is the one where I decided to have a little bit of fun. So we're going to turn the camera off and turn it back on, and there we are, right in the middle of OBS. This is effectively what I'm seeing on my end, sort of. I'm getting like double OBS. I'm getting the one with the image and then the one where I'm actually recording. You get the point. But that's just stuff that I have been doing. I've been primarily focusing on it the last 7 years. I wish the last 7 months, but it is something I have been using for at least the last 9 years on a consecutive basis, trying to record, trying to do YouTube stuff, whatever. You're not going to find any videos that old on my channel. That is because earlier this year, 2022, I deleted a lot of my old content because it just didn't feel like it was up to snuff. Like I didn't feel like the content was worthy of being out there and displaying what I can do myself. So I ended up deleting that stuff and tried to start fresh. And I do have some notes here. Let's see here. So what do I bring to the table for this company? Obviously, I bring a lot of knowledge of systems that they're asking for, and even some novice level knowledge of other things that I'm not familiar with or not that well versed in, such as Photoshop, Adobe Premiere, and other things of that nature. I do have a little bit of knowledge on those, and I feel like being able to work on these in a competitive environment and actually producing products will not only help you guys out because you're not going to have to train me all that much. It's also going to help me out get better at making content for my own channel. So we got like a mutual benefit kind of thing going on there where I'm giving you guys effectively what you're looking for and you're giving me the opportunity to grow in that aspect. Um, so I feel like that's really going to help. And part of the reasoning for that is I do have a passion for wanting to produce videos of any sort. Um, and being able to be brought on to a company like that and be able to work on products like this is just going to help me in the long run get better at my own craft. Yeah. What else? Yeah, it's just gonna. I've got improved skills here by creating content. I've already said that, but yeah, the point is, I've got a lot of the skills already. Whether or not those skills need to grow and mature a little bit, that's up to debate. Not really. They do. They do need to grow, and I feel like the environment that you guys present would be perfect for that kind of growth to happen. Being put into a mindset of I'm producing something for other people to watch with systems that I already know how to use is only going to help me grow as a content creator. And again, like you've already got somebody in me that knows a whole lot about everything you're asking for. The only real down on any of that is my knowledge of the cameras and the controllers for that. And again, based on what I was seeing in images on how these work and everything, I don't think it's going to take me more than a few hours to understand and learn how to use those. Whether or not perfecting my ability to use them, that may take a little more time coming with practice as I'm helping produce videos for your needs. That's just something that's going to happen over time. So yeah, that's what I had to share with you guys, and I really hope you enjoyed this. And I really hope you consider me because I mean I'm here in town, and I think this would just be a perfect opportunity for me and for you guys. So thank you very much for taking time out to watch this, and hopefully I'll be talking to you guys soon about an interview. I can only hope so. Again, this opportunity just seems like it's too big of a chance and too important to me to like miss out. And I feel like, I had to make this in order to kind of emphasize that even more. Uh, so yeah, thank you guys very much. I'll see you around.